I'm Yesenia Taveras, and welcome to INFocus. The Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council provides free education on matters related to money, credit, taxes, homeownership, and foreclosure prevention. Joining us now is the Executive Director, Rashmi Ranging. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited.
Yes, and I am as well. I believe this is going to be a very informational segment. Thank you so much. So Rashmi, let's talk a little bit about credit. How important is credit when it comes to homeownership, foreclosure, and just in general?
Credit is the most important thing in America. Credit is your character. Imagine Mother Teresa applying for a loan of the greatest, highest moral character. Unless she also had an awesome credit score, she ain't gonna get money. So credit is incredibly important, so important that since 1995, we've been teaching about managing money with an eye towards building credit. And the bottom line is, anyone who is so inclined can have the same awesome credit as everyone else does.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I myself is a single mother. When all the finances are kind of just brought onto you and you have to take care of everything, your credit can kind of decline. But it is possible to bring that number back up to the 700s and up if you have the right type of education. So what kind of education do you provide?
So we have a program called Borrow Smart. It is a class that is offered once a month, maybe twice a month, and by invitation anywhere. Following the class, because there you get the overview, there is the one-on-one available to everyone, and all our services are free. And in that one-on-one, we go through the bank statements. We go through a budget. We look at the credit report. We look at the credit score, and then we have a map on what will it take to get to where one wants to be. So without a map, once you don't know where you're starting from, where you want to go, how do you know what you need to do? So it's very simple, it's very easy. We are available, walking you every step of the way so that you don't make mistakes.
That's right. And I do believe in anything that you want to do in life, become successful in anything, you have to have an action plan. You have to know where you're going.
Exactly.
And with that, in regards to home ownership, I know a lot of people kind of get scared when it comes to credit, and then they might have the thought, oh, I cannot become a homeowner. I don't even know what that looks like. And they kind of just don't even invest in that. They just keep renting and renting. And I bought my house when I was 29 years old because I knew I didn't want my kids to jump from apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment. So how important is home ownership, having the ability to own a house, and then how can that happen? What type of education?
You know what? Home ownership is the most important wealth building stepping stone for anyone in America. And it is so important, and particularly for the African American community. They got to jump on this home ownership wagon. I read a statistic recently, or a statement that has really been like a gut-wrenching reaction for me, that home ownership gap between an African American and a white American is wider today than it was during the Jim Crow era. And that is a slap in all our work, because we've been talking about build your credit, build savings, own wealth, and as that racial wealth divide widens, lack of home ownership is one main reason.
Why do you think it's such a big gap within the minority community?
Well, we worked very hard, we got home ownership access, and then the crisis happened. And in that crisis, the first wave took away all the wealth that the minority community built. Access to mortgage wasn't always the best access. The predatory loans are really in the minority communities. So there are many, many reasons, but the one way to fight it back is really upon us, the homeowners, or the potential homeowners. We need to know what it takes to become homeowner, and not just home ownership for today, but sustain it. Because what is homeownership? You're borrowing money and you're promising to pay it back over a 30-year period of time. So it is a 30-year till death you part relationship. So in order to sustain, you start out with working towards the 30-year what could happen, what couldn't happen. Savings and good credit is what is a good first step to becoming a homeowner. And in the state of Delaware, in the city of Wilmington, we have amazing housing counselors. They are HUD approved, HUD certified, and their whole business model is to build home ownership and reduce that home ownership gap, because it should not be tolerated.
That's right. And Rashmi, do you think that even though it can take 30 years to pay over that mortgage, do you think that that has a big impact in regards to what age you are when buying a house?
No, not necessarily. It doesn't matter whether you are 18 or you are 88. If home ownership is a glint in your eye, don't let anyone tell you that home ownership is only for a select few.
That's right. And how do you help people learn more about homeownership? I know the state of Delaware provides a class that you have to take before you buy your own house, your first house.
Yes.
How does DCRAC help that?
I mean, same. The starting point is have a savings plan, have a good credit, and our Borrow Smart Credit Clinic gets you started. And then when you're good and ready to become a homeowner, then our housing clinic picks up, where our eye in our one-on-one is to emphasize that this is a 30-year relationship. We don't want to be there to help you prevent foreclosure, because an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And in this environment, the pound of cure is shrinking rapidly. So all the legislative work, all the consumer protections are disappearing. So when you go into this 30-year relationship up front, you want to make sure that you keep it, because divorce is very expensive in this case.
Yes, especially when you have it state at hand.
Yes, yes.
And also with foreclosure prevention, since you just mentioned that, with the mortgage, you do have about 15 days to pay before it becomes late. But what are some of the things that come in hand when it comes to probably losing your house?
The best thing is to remember that, don't be an ostrich with your head in the sand. Problem won't go away. You have to do something. So when you are experiencing an inability to pay a mortgage, pick up the phone right away and call a housing counselor and work with a housing counselor. Housing counselors are there to assist you prevent foreclosure, and no one should charge a dime for that service. No one, because it is available for free. And while we are on this foreclosure prevention, there are two things that we offer that are unique, just our agency offers. One is a title program.
Okay.
Title program is a legal service. Those that don't own title to their home need to get title to their home or their land or their mobile home, because then you have evidence that you own. So if you're experiencing foreclosure about your home, but you don't own the home, or you can't prove that you own the home, you can't prevent the home from going into foreclosure. So our title project assists folk that own and for some reason did not get the title transferred in their name.
Okay.
And then we have a tax clinic. And our tax clinic is there to provide legal representation before the IRS and all the way into tax court for anyone that is experiencing problems with IRS. One would think, why would a low-income community have IRS issues? Oh my God, oh my God. It is amazing. It's counterintuitive, but that is the reality. So all this, what DCRAC provides, the credit clinic, home ownership, foreclosure prevention, tax clinic, title project, they are just services.
Okay.
And they kind of are, like, you can call it an emergency care. But at core, our really mission and action is the credit union, which I'm incredibly proud of, because it breaks down tremendous barriers that our community face in their access to home ownership, foreclosure prevention, tax resolution. And what are some of the barriers?
I was just going to say that. What are some of the barriers?
Yeah. So maybe at 18, I did something terrible with my banking relationship. And I am now stuck in a position where I'm excluded from banking completely. No bank wants to bank me.
Wait, how can you get excluded from banking?
Well, maybe you bounced a check, maybe you didn't manage your bank, maybe you have such a lousy credit score that banks are looking at good credit score. So that could be one reason for exclusion. Another reason for exclusion could be a bank's product that requires you to have, say, a huge amount of minimum to open and maintain a bank account. So for the community that we serve, even $100 minimum at all times could be exclusionary. So the credit union is there to bring into and out of the shadowy world of fringe finance communities, particularly Wilmingtonians, because our target is those that live, work, worship, or study in the city of Wilmington. They can become banked. If they are banked, but they are underbanked, Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union is there for them. What does it take to become a member? Right now, really only a valid photo identity and proof of your connection to the city of Wilmington.
Right.
Of course, our hours are not very convenient. Why?
Because everyone's working?
Yes, because we are mobile as in on wheels. We are out and about in the community. We are removing yet another barrier. Our community is kind of stuck without transportation, without access to being where banks are. We are bank deserts, really. So we want to create oasis over there in every community in the city of Wilmington. No excuses. So we will bank you. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past.
It's like a forgiveness.
Yes. $5, and we fund that $5. So all you need to do is come to the van or to our branch, which is on Church Street, right across from Old Sweets Church. So you come to either the branch or the van with your valid photo ID. We open the account. We give you information about direct deposit. And that's another thing. So many employers may offer you employment, but you can't accept that employment without direct deposit.
That's right.
It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about this, because there's a lot of people too in our demographics here, Wilmingtonians, who prefer cash over a credit card, ATM card. So can you kind of tell us the importance in having a bank account, having an ATM card, as opposed to just keeping cash set aside somewhere hidden, right?
Well, there are two things about cash in your pocket. Cash has a way of getting out. So in fact, anyone that comes into our branch during non-credit union hours with money to deposit will take their money, give them a receipt, and deposit it during the credit union hours. Because we understand how quickly cash walks out. And then the safety of it as well. I mean, you lose cash, what can you do? You lost it, right? So somebody took it from you, you lost it. So there are reasons why it makes sense not to carry too much cash. And what we notice is, for our community, they'll do direct deposit in their bank, and the day after that they go to an ATM and withdraw all the money to pay all the bills. So right now we are not a primary financial institution yet, although give us time and we will be. We are young. We were chartered in 2011. We opened our doors in 2012. We have only 550 plus members, so we are incredibly young. But we are solving for access. So anyone that lives, works, worships in the city of Wilmington has access to a bank account at a credit union where you are an owner, a member, not just a customer. You have access to minimum $5 minimum. You have access to direct deposit. You have access to surcharge-free ATM card only. And you have access to loan products that are far more affordable than the fringe finance offers. So we are on our way to becoming Wilmingtonians' primary financial institution. And we can't get there without the support of Wilmingtonians.
That's right. And accessibility is very important. Not only the information to make one feel empowered, to know what
Yes.
they're doing and how they're getting involved, because it can be a scary situation, and especially if you've never been taught. You know, some
Yes.
families are very fortunate to have learned certain things that discipline them in the money
Right.
area,
Right.
Budgeting, things of that
Yes.
nature. The convenience of paying your bills online with a bank account as opposed to going to the store or to the cell phone place and paying your bills. There's so much more flexibility when you have a
Yes.
bank account.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes.
for the loans, why would one need a loan? And what kind of education do you provide in that area?
So, unfortunately, in America, in order to get ahead, you have to borrow money. Unfortunately,
Borrow other people's money.
borrow other people's money. And our system is designed in that way, right? We have credit cards, we have personal loans, we have automobile loans,
That's right.
we have student loans, we have mortgages, we have small business loans. The reality is, say, let's take home as an example. There is no way one could come up with $100,000 of your own savings to buy a home. So we have a great system. Nowhere else in the world can an 18-year-old think about home ownership if they have a job, good credit, than in America, because you can put 2% down and become a homeowner, borrow the remaining 98%, plus the settlement help that is available through the city, the county, the state, towards down payment and closing costs. So we have a good system. To get ahead, you need to borrow money.
That's right.
Life sometimes throws you a curveball. You need to borrow money. Sometimes, emergency never tells you, I'm coming knocking on your door on November 8th.
Right.
So unless you have a savings cushion, you have to turn to someone to borrow money. And the person or the entity you want to turn to is the entity that will lend you at a low cost, not very high cost. And unfortunately, the entities that lend you small dollars are at high cost because
Okay.
you're considered very high risk.
And so with your entity, does credit score really play a big role in trying to get a loan?
Well, a credit score plays a role, credit reports play a role, debt to income ratios play a role, references play a role,
That's right.
budgets play a role, and our credit committee looks at ways to say yes, not at ways to say no, because we are in the business of building our community, giving them the bootstraps so they can build themselves up.
That's right. Well, as our Wilmingtonians are hearing it now, there is not just all the education that you can get, it's free and it's accessible. So can you share with us before we leave where are your locations and what time during the day can we find your mobile unit?
Okay, so our locations on Church Street, we are at 603 North Church Street, and at Harrison, we are at 600 South Harrison. It used to be a bank branch, and the bank gifted it to us. Thank you, Fulton Bank. And our mobile unit is on Wednesdays, 9 to 12, right in front of the City County building. And we'll be at as many place streets as we can get to. And if you need us to come to you, just give us a call, 298-3253. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. It's definitely been a pleasure. I appreciate
Pleasure
all that
too.
you do, because education is powerful.
It
And that's
is.
all you need to know is just what to do, have an action plan, and it kind of takes the fear away. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it. Thank you. More when we return. Please don't go away.
If you slowly lost the ability to walk, what would you remember about your final steps? Victims of ALS lose the power to use their legs, hold someone close, and simply say, "I love you," before their bodies gradually shut down and die. Join the ALS Association's Walk to Defeat ALS and help us find treatments and a cure for Lou Gehrig's disease.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his
I
backpack.
can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just gotta
trying as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Hello, I'm Yesenia Taveras, and welcome back to INFocus. Jacqueline Means is 15 years old. She hasn't even graduated high school yet. She's already done a TEDx, but most importantly, she's empowering inner city youth, girls in particularly, how to find a love for science, technology, engineering, and math. And she joins us now. Welcome to the show, Jacqueline.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy that you're here. This is very inspiring. I mean, you're just 15 years old. You're doing so much for the community. You're finding time to give back outside of school. Let's talk a little bit about where did this start? How did you find a love for science?
So really it started when I was about 8 or 9 years old. It was summertime and I was really bored and just hopped on my mom's computer and I looked up this thing called Girls Games, and they had all these surgery games. They had heart surgery and like foot surgery, but brain surgery is what really caught my eye. So I played the game and I thought that was really interesting. And ever since then, I've just really looked deeper into what brain surgery is, and I found out it's actually called neurosurgery. So I've looked into that, and I know that that's what I want to do with my future.
And that's wonderful, because one may not notice how much our neurons play a role into all that we do. I remember my daughter, when I gave birth to her, and she was about a little 8 months old, her whole right side was kind of like not working, and it had to do with her neuro.
Yeah.
So
that's like what surgeons do. They kind of like fix that. They fix the things that, because the brain affects everything from your motor functions to how you speak to pretty much everything you do. So if something's wrong, it's pretty much always going to be with your brain. And surgeons help fix that.
And how important is it as a young African-American female trying to get into this type of field? How do you believe that, or what do you believe in having minorities take an interest into this field?
Well, actually, only 29% of the STEM workforce is even female, and an even lower percentage is of a minority, and even lower than that is African Americans. So what I'm really trying to do is get more young girls, specifically young girls from Wilmington, because a lot of them are girls of color, letting them know that this is a career choice that you can make, because when I was younger, I know that wasn't something that was made clear for me, that this was something I could do. It was kind of, you can be a receptionist, you can be a teacher, and those are great, but sometimes girls want to go do something even more, you know?
That's
Just
right.
really letting them know that STEM is a career choice that you can make.
And through your empowerment, you created the Wilmington Urban STEM Initiative program. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it entails?
So the Wilmington Urban STEM Initiative is a nonprofit that I created because like I said, I wasn't exposed to STEM when I was younger, and I wanted to create something of my own that, like, yes, this picture is actually from one of my events that I hosted, and I have 50 girls, at least 50 girls, come to each event, and I have them come so they can do multiple science experiments that I hand select, because there's specific ones that show just how fun STEM can be. For example, we've made slime, we've made elephant toothpaste, and we even made dry ice cream, which is ice cream made from dry ice, sugar, and a couple of other ingredients, so it makes ice cream right in front of the girls' eyes. And it shows them just how fun STEM can be. And that's really the goal, because science and math and all kinds of things can be made to seem really boring in school, and you don't want that when you're young, or else you're never gonna find your love for that. So I'm showing them how fun it can be.
I was just going to say that. So do you believe your exposure is what's going to spark the interest for these young girls?
I do. I think showing them, putting STEM in a positive light can really spark an interest. So maybe when they're older and they're picking their major for college, they can say, oh, I remember when I did that cool experiment. I want to go check out science a little more.
And that's right. And at 15, not only are you holding these initiative programs, and I know your mother, she plays an important role in supporting this event financially, making sure that the girls have something to eat as well while they're learning, because nutrition is just as important. But you're also getting the U.S. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester on board, the city treasurer, Valda Jones Potter as well. Can you talk a little bit about having these women, African-American women, who hold so very high positions and roles in our country, to have them come to your empowerment summit and talk to these girls? And I know you also had a ear, nose, and throat doctor as well. So can you talk a little bit about having them there to talk to these girls?
So I bring in, I call them my empowering speakers, because when you bring in these women of color who have been in these young girl situations, who have kind of experienced what these girls are going through at that young age, and saying, I was where you are and here I am now. I grew up in a kind of impoverished home. I grew up in the city where it wasn't always a great place to live, but I'm here, I have this great job, I am in a position of power, and I'm doing what I can to make my community better. I think bringing in those women who look like the girls who come to my events can be more impactful than hearing from someone who maybe has had a different life experience than them. That's why I bring in women of color, women who have gone through the same experiences as them.
And how does science and math and engineering, these type of fields, STEM fields, how does it impact one's life?
So STEM is actually really becoming a lot more important than it has been in the past couple of years, with all the new discoveries, with cars that can drive themselves, people working on actually grapes right now so they can make brain surgery minimally invasive, because grapes are similar to the brain in a small way, but they work the same way. All these new discoveries, STEM is becoming a major impact in the world today. So having girls get more interested in STEM can really, I think that will impact the world in a large way, because these girls, they're young right now, but in a couple of years they'll be grown women going into college looking for majors, and STEM is going to become a really huge thing in the future.
And how do you feel it's been able to impact them? Because one may not know, but you are from Southbridge. You are from this community. You eat, sleep, you breathe here. You go to school here. So giving back to the community at such a young age, outside of everything else you do, have you heard any feedback from these young girls, and what do they say?
Recently, about 3 weeks ago, I had an event where I partnered with Microsoft, and that happened because a representative from Microsoft was in the audience at my TEDx speech. And he said he was just so impressed with everything I've done at the age of 15 years old, said he wanted to partner with me. So I was able to have an event at the Microsoft store in Christiana Mall, and because I can't buy 50 laptops for the girls to experience technology with at my events, I was able to bring the girls to Microsoft to do technology activities where they can see, oh, this is how technology works, this is how you code something, and really showing them how fun not only science can be, but technology as well. So showing the girls how fun that can be was really cool as well. And
I was going to add, how was the TEDx experience? I mean, you're 15 doing a TEDx talk. Not many adults can say that. Yeah. So what was that kind of like, preparing, or what are some of the topics that you did speak about?
The TEDx, but the day of, you actually go to where you're going to be speaking and you have a practice session before you talk.
Okay.
And my practice was not good. I pretty much forgot everything I wanted to say, and it didn't go as planned. But when my time actually came to go on stage, it went flawlessly. I spoke, I talked about, because I tried to make it scripted and have every word be perfect, but when I dropped the script and just talked from my heart, I knew that was what I really needed to do.
Because you're so passionate about this.
Yeah, I knew I didn't need a script when I did it without the cards.
And outside of all that you're trying to do in regards to empowering Wilmingtonian girls in regards to the STEM field, you're also a student at the Delaware Military Academy. Why did you pick that school?
I picked Delaware Military Academy, and DMA for short, because I have actually been considering going into the service. My mom was in the service and my uncle was, and I've been talking to them a little more about the benefits of all that discipline and really just becoming a more disciplined person. And DMA offers that. Every day you go to school, your hair is in a slick bun, you shine your shoes in the morning, your uniform measurements have to be accurate, else you get dropped, which means you have to do 50 push-ups. But I like the discipline, and it's a really small school, so everyone's really close-knit, and it's like a family, and I love it.
And how much does discipline play a role in a young girl's life or a young person in general?
So growing up in Wilmington, especially Southbridge, you see things that you wouldn't really see somewhere else. When I was younger, I saw someone get shot literally right outside across the street from my house. And I think that discipline has helped me become the person I am today, who starts initiatives, who does TEDx's. And I think it's helped me grow as a person, because I think just when you grow up somewhere where it's not, you don't always have the best influences, you can get discipline outside somewhere else that really helps you.
Wow, Jacqueline, you're doing so many amazing things at such a young age and as a minority. It's just so empowering to hear as myself, as an adult. But I wanted to also talk about, like, not only are you doing all these things, you're breaking records, you broke the shot put record at your school. Like, how do you find time to do this and stay disciplined and to train yourself? Because that takes practice as well. It's not like you just show up and start winning things.
Yeah.
So how do you just find time to do all of this?
So I have an extremely detailed schedule. I have an itinerary on my phone, on my computer, and I have a tangible one on my wall, so I can see everything I have to do. So I do keep a really detailed schedule, because I have track practice, cheer practice, chess club, and then the pageant stuff, doing the TEDx. It's a lot on my list, but I know I have to keep my priorities straight.
Now, do you think that's very important for someone your age to have such a schedule? Because I know as adults we have to obviously have something ready and prepared in the working world, but at such a young age, one might think, oh, let me just go play sports or go outside and find something to do, but you're just already so disciplined in that area. Do you think that's important for kids to start at such a young age?
I think it's important to take advantage of every opportunity that comes to you. So when I saw that DMA had all the discipline that I was really looking for, I said, I'm going to go there. When I saw that they had chess club, and I've been playing chess competitively for 7 years, I said, I'm joining that. When I saw that I could be a big part of my school and student council, I said, I'm joining that. So I'm taking all the opportunities I can, because I know when I'm an adult, I'll use those things that I've learned from being strategic in chess, from having to talk to people and be good with people communications, with student council, just all the different things I'm using.
And your brother also started a chess club, is that correct?
Yes, my brother Johnny, he's 19 now, and he's studying business informatics at University of Delaware. And he's super into chess, and he's really good at it. He's beat me more times than I can count, but he did start a chess initiative.
That's wonderful. Your parents, I know, must be very proud of the both of you.
We keep him busy.
That's right. So let's talk about being in part of a pageant. Like, why did you decide to go that route? Some people might think, oh, beauty queen, they really don't have the brains, they just have the beauty, but clearly that's not the case here. So what made you want to join or participate?
I chose the Miss America organization specifically because they have a talent portion, which is unlike other pageant systems. And I've been cheering since I was 3 years old. So I can do backflips, I can do front flips, and all kinds of rolls and stuff. And I thought that I would be able to showcase that with Miss America. And I don't know if you've heard, but Miss America is actually changing a lot, the big pieces of their pageant. They're revamping their evening gown portion, and they're completely taking out the swimsuit portion and planning to replace it with an on-stage interview. Because often the audience doesn't see why a Miss America was picked. Because the interviews, actually the audience doesn't see it. So
the scenes.
The contestant and the judges know what happens, but the audience doesn't. And I think it's really awesome that people are going to see that, oh, she's not just pretty, she knows what she's talking about as well.
Right, she's educated, she's poised, and she can answer the question under pressure.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it as well. So let's talk a little bit about your platform. Oh, and let's talk about what pageant you represented and what place did you win?
So right now I'm with the Miss America organization, and I am Miss Newcastle County's Outstanding Teen. And I won that in about November, so since then I've been prepping for the state pageant, which is actually this Friday, June 15th at Cape Henlopen, and I'll be competing for the state title of Miss Delaware's Outstanding Teen. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the platform you chose is in the science field?
Yes, because this is my first year doing pageants, so I've actually had my nonprofit for about 2 years now. And they said, oh, what are you passionate about? And I was like, oh, duh, STEM. So my platform is exposing more young girls to STEM. And I chose that and not just girls from Wilmington, because if I do win the title, my goal would be to expand my initiative from not just Wilmington, but all the way down through Kent County and Sussex County to bring even more girls and get them more interested in STEM.
Wow, that's wonderful. And lastly, how important is it to be such a well-rounded person? You have the sports aspect, you have the pageant aspect, but you also have the education, the discipline. How important is it to have all those entities together?
I think that when kids are young, they think, oh, when I'm older, I'm going to do all these great things. But you need to start when you're young, because if you take advantage of every opportunity that comes to you, you don't know when you'll be using that life lesson from track, when you'll be using that life lesson from that club you joined in 7th or 8th grade. And I think being well-rounded is important because, say, I know I want to be a neurosurgeon, but before that, I have to pay off college and stuff. So if I need to be a waitress, I need to have good people skills. If I need to be a receptionist, I need to be able to be organized and be disciplined and make sure everything's in the right spot. So I think being well-rounded is really important, and just taking advantage of every opportunity that you can.
Wow, thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. It's been such a great opportunity. Thank you. And I hope a lot of young people were able to see this interview and see how powerful, impactful just having someone like themselves, a peer, who's doing so many great things, not only in school and in life, but within the community. Because I do believe giving back, volunteering, plays such a big role in trying to help revamp the community that we live in. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And best of luck too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And on behalf of all of us here at WITN 22, thank you so much for watching.